Alright, hello class. So today I wanted to go over the interface on InDesign. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open something. I'm just going to open a new file, and we're just going to start with a blank document. So remember, InDesign is for print, so it's usually print or web. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to print. You can do it for mobile and as well, but it's usually just for print and web. And we're going to go to the letter. I'm just going to open a basic letter, title it example, and 8.5 by 11 is fine. The same settings that we have in Illustrator, except that we have this slug. I don't think Illustrator has a slug option, but we have bleed and other things, bleed and margins as well. So for most of the documents that you're setting up, if it's for print, you're going to definitely want to have a bleed. So I usually change that to 0.125, and I leave my margins at a 1/2 inch, and then click create. Alright, so starting off, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my my workspace. So this is the workspace how I've had it recently. The last workspace you had is what saves. So I'm going to go up to the top right here, go to Window, Workspace, and I'm going to say Reset Essentials. I'm just going to reset it back to the base one. You can also do it from this spot right here. Go here, Reset Essentials, and that takes you back to the beginning. All right. If a panel is missing that you really want, you just go to Window, find that panel. So I don't see my Layers panel, so I'm just going to click on Layers, open my Layers panel, and put it right there. So if it's missing or it's hidden, you can always get it back by just going to it and clicking on it, and that makes it visible again. Alright, so the workspace that we're going to use in this class is the Essential workspace. Essential Classic is good, but let's keep with the modern one, the Essentials, because it has this nice properties panel in it, and that makes it a lot easier to edit things on the fly. You don't have to go to so many inner windows and inner panels to do stuff. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to click our T key, or we're going to click on the text tool right here, and I'm going to click on my screen, and I'm going to drag out a box, and I'm going to type in my name. Alright, I just selected the name, and then I held down control and shift, or command and shift. Alright, what is that on a PC? Option shift, I think, on a PC, and then bracket, and then I just made it bigger. You can also come over here to the right hand side and notice that the properties panel is contextual. So as soon as we clicked on the tool, so I'm going to click away. As soon as I clicked on the text tool and selected something, the properties panel, it should, as soon as I click on the text tool, let's do that again. As soon as I click on the text tool, and I guess I do have to click on the screen, it changes to show my character panel and my paragraph panel. So I'm going to go right here, and you can make it to a bigger size. 60 point is good, and you can change the font to something that you want to see. So just play around with that. But all this, the properties panel is it's contextual. So depending on what I have selected, it changes to accommodate that. So I have this, I just created a box. Now I have my appearance, so I can change my fill color, I can change my stroke, and I can add a color to the stroke. Alright, you can also click on these to change the if you want the stroke to be on the inside, the outside, align stroke to inside, align stroke to outside, so it's outside the box. Alright, so all these are different options for appearance. We can click on our name. So I'm going back to my black arrow, click on the names. It's kind of like Illustrator. We can change opacity, so I can lower my opacity. Right, so you can see that it's showing through because I lowered it to 30%. So lots of different things you can do with the appearance once you do that. So let's see here. So at the top of our screen is our menu bar. So this is on every Adobe product. You have your menu bar at the top of your screen. On the left side of our screen, we have our toolbar. And for your toolbar, remember you can always make it truncate it like this and make it smaller, or you can keep it long and keep more space, real estate on your screen. It depends on what you want. Sometimes I like to do, I like to have it in the 2 columns, it's a little bit easier to see, but it's up to you how you want to do that. The gray area in the back of my my page is your pasteboard, and this just means it's areas where you can paste things and they won't show up on your page. All right. You can change the color of this if you want. You can go to edit and properties. Let's see, properties. Let's see, document setup. Oh, on preferences. On the Mac, it's a little bit different. It's not under. It's under the Indesign under preferences. But you can change your pasteboard and stuff. You can change the colors of it if you want. You can change the other things as well. All right. Let's see. On our right-hand side, we have our panels. So just like in Photoshop or Illustrator, we have our panels. And if you want more panels, you can go into the different places and drag those out. So I'm going to add my align panel, and then I'm just going to add it as a button right here. So I have my align. It's also right here, if you look, align right here. So I can click on this and this, select them both, and align them together if I want. Let's do that again so that they... Alright, so you can have it either as a flyout panel or you can use your properties panel. Sometimes when I use my properties panel, you can, if you want more options, they have these little 3 dots right here. So I can click on the 3 dots and see more or less of what I want. So if I click on this right here, I go to paragraph, I see my paragraph right there. And if I want to reduce it, I can take it back and make it a little bit smaller. So the 3 dots just give you a little bit more information or remove information. All right. And let's see, obviously the white is our page, and the white has different things on it. This pink line right here is the margin, and this magenta, the magenta line is the margin, and this red line is your bleed. So we'll talk about bleed and margins later on. If you go over to the right hand side, we have our pages. So this is how our magazine or whatever it is we're laying out, our brochure, our poster, our web magazine, or even our web page, how we're laying it out. This is where it'll show. There's lots of different setups for this. So we can click new pages, we can add them to each other. So I'm going to click right here and say, let's see, numbering exception options. So start page numbering at 2. So make it into a spread. So there's lots of different ways that we can set up our page, and you guys will be playing around with those as we go further into the program. And then down here we have our I don't know if this is your options bar, but you can have your different pages right here. It tells you if you have an error on your page, like let's say this is too small. So now it says I have an error, so I can go find that error with pre-flight and other things. You can change it from what type of working space you have. So let's see here, I'm going to go to workspace here. I'm going to change it. So the ones that we're going to be using are essentials, digital publishing, interactive for PDF. So those are the ones that we're going to be using. And depending on what you choose, it'll give you different options. So this one has animations and other things for digital publishing. So it changes based on what tools you'll be needing, what panels you'll be needing for your project. In the top here, this is where we have our options bar. And depending on what you're doing, so you have different things. You have like rotation, you have stroke, you have size of your page and all that. Scaling right here, transform and scale. So you can change this to 175%. So transform. So depending on how you want your setup, so how you want your items to look, you're going to be changing them with your options bar at the top here. And again, this is contextual. So if I change this to a text tool, it changes based on what tool I have selected. It's just like your properties panel, but it's at the top now. So I think when it's in the top, we call it your control panel. I know that's the third one I'm saying, but it was options in Photoshop, Control panel is what you call it in InDesign. So I apologize for getting you all confused. All right. So that's it. So I hope this was helpful.